Welcome back, everybody. IGN Live, San Diego Comic-Con. Now we're going to take a look at my most anticipated 3DS game.
What?
Yeah, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Oh my gosh! And Bill's here to tell us about
Bill from
it.
Nintendo.
Bill, how you doing?
Hi.
Good to see you.
What are we going to see today?
Today what we're going to see is really just the first sneak peek at the next Legend of Zelda game designed specifically for Nintendo 3DS. The game, I think part of the reason a lot of people are so excited for it is it goes back to sort of the traditional top-down view of the 16-bit A Link to the Past. And not only does it go back to that same view, but it's set essentially in the same world.
So, sequel, spiritual successor, what's the correct
It's a very good question. It's obviously it's the next all-new Zelda game.
Right.
From a storyline perspective, it's going to take place sometime after the events of A Link to the Past.
Okay.
And in that same world, but what you'll see as he kind of explores the world here is that it's not exactly the same. Time has passed, some things have changed, but additionally with the new key gameplay mechanic of Link being able to merge with the walls, which you can do just about anywhere in the environment. That gives you the ability to then sort of traverse through the world in ways that you hadn't been able to do before.
Now, we have our first Twitter question. Of course, tweet at IGN, hashtag SDCC. Comes from a little boy named Rich in San Francisco. He says the overworld largely appears to be the same as Link to the Past. How much of a difference can we expect? Is it identical?
It is not identical.
Okay.
There are certainly changes to the structure of it and sort of the layout of some of the areas, but it will definitely have a very familiar vibe for anybody that's played A Link to the Past. But of course, as I noted, the key difference, for example, is right here, trying to get to that heart piece. Link has this ability to merge with the walls, and that allows him to traverse along the walls, get to areas he hasn't gotten to before, and that'll be key both in sort of solving puzzles as well as exploring the overworld.
And you said he can do that just about anywhere.
Yeah, just about anywhere in the environment that you've got sort of a wall surface that you can cling to. And he just essentially turns into a little chalk drawing on the wall, and then, oh, he's on fire there.
Well, some trouble for him.
Link appears to be on fire.
That's right. Breaking news. But yeah, he turns into this chalk drawing that then animates and moves along the wall. For those of you who are longtime Zelda fans, you may notice a similarity between that drawing and some of the scroll artwork from the Wind Waker.
Right. I noticed it, Greg.
Did you?
Yeah.
I noticed he looks like the Wind Waker.
Now, of course, the other thing that's really key with the game is the 3D visuals.
Yep.
And so, obviously with A Link to the Past, the game wasn't in 3D. With A Link Between Worlds having the 3D visuals of the Nintendo 3DS screen just adds a tremendous amount of verticality to.
I was noticing that. Yeah, it looks great.
The overworld, as well as they're really putting that to use in the dungeons, which we'll see here. And interestingly, the dungeon retains even the name of this particular dungeon is in the Tower of Hera, which obviously existed in A Link to the Past, but is a completely different and redesigned dungeon from that game.
Oh, see what he did there? That's cool.
Yeah.
Right. So you see, he's using those switches to raise the platforms to get him up to the next level. Using the hammer here to knock down that, which launches him back up. The other thing that you notice is there's a gauge there on the left-hand side, and so when Link is using arrows or the hammer or items of that nature, that drains the gauge. So instead of having a set number of items in your inventory, this item gauge is essentially what's allowing you to use multiples of a single item. And so that creates a little bit of a risk-reward, obviously. If you're just hammering on the button and shooting arrows, you're going to drain that gauge, and you're going to end up at a point where you don't have enough to shoot any more arrows, and you're going to have to let that recharge.
Damon, I got a question for you from Twitter. This comes from Kevin is awesome one. He says, "Do the visuals look nice?" Now we know Bill is going to say it. I'm reading the question. I want to get you involved. What do you think? You happy with this?
Yeah, I do think the visuals look really nice. We're talking about the rendered in 3D, and I love the verticality. As he moves up, the camera's like sort of pulling up with him. You get a really nice view of the land. I like his 2D hieroglyphic Link. Is he invincible? Or is he ever in danger when he's in that mode?
So that also has a limit on how long he can be there. So obviously, if you're traversing across an open cliff and you don't have enough in your meter, it's going to pop you off the wall, and then you're going to fall down and get injured. And so that's probably the primary risk that you're going to be at. But then, as you see in this section here, right, you've got the vicious crows coming at you here. But you'll then have sort of timing elements, whereas these platforms are flying around. He's going to have
I
to get
see, I
on this
see.
wall, right? Get around and get back off before the
awesome.
This game's cool.
It's so awesome. No, I like this is how I prefer like my Link. I like the more like childish, like cartoony Link. That's just me, Greg.
Okay.
How do you think it looks?
I think it looks awesome. Yeah, totally. This is
I mean, the other
definitely something
thing that I
like.
think not a lot of people realize is that the game is it's buttery smooth running at 60 frames per second on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And so even with the visual style that you're seeing here in 2D, when you pop that into 3D, it just brings so much life to it, and then plus the frame rate just makes everything feel really, really nice.
How deep into the game are we here?
This is relatively early in the game.
Yeah.
And in fact, we at this point haven't even gone into much detail on the story yet. So we'll be talking more about that as we get closer to launch
Clearly,
in November.
there's a bunch of evil happy faces that invaded the land of Hyrule.
They need to be smashed with a
They need
hammer.
to be made sad. Story's written. There you go. Ganondorf somehow connected. So I want to do something, Bill. Since you're here,
Okay.
I want to thank Michael Bryan. I never owned a Nintendo system. Bought an N64, and then he said I needed to buy this, this Legend of Zelda game. And I was like,
Which one? No, Ocarina?
Yeah, Ocarina. I was like, I'm playing wrestling games. I got things to do. And finally,
I think there's a new Spider-Man game I need to play.
It was awesome. And that was when it changed, and I had to go back and play everything. And I bought, buying Game Boy SPs out there.
Yeah.
Playing all the Zeldas and stuff. So thank you, Michael Bryan, for
Well,
making sure I
thank you.
played Zelda games.
Thank you, Michael Bryan.
Changing my life.
Yeah.
But I'm totally down for this game.
Yeah,
When's
I can't
this
wait.
one come
Yeah.
out?
This is coming out this holiday, so we're targeting November for this game.
Oh, see, this is
Maybe.
This is the kind of gameplay that breaks my brain when I start thinking about this. Like,
Maybe you'll be playing this on your flight to Japan, Greg.
that'd be nice.
Oh, are you going
Great.
to Japan?
I am.
Over
yeah.
Thanksgiving, Greg's going to
Thanksgiving break.
Japan.
I said, you know what, Mom and Dad, not coming home. Going to Japan. Gonna hang out with Shuhei Yoshida, Scott Lowe. Go to that Jiro Dreams of Sushi place. That's my plan, everybody. If you're in Japan for Thanksgiving, find me. I'll either be at the Jiro Dreams of Sushi place or the really good ramen shop across, or Catacomb near from ABC Shoe Mark.
In Shibuya. You know the one. You'll be there.
I know the one.
Can we expect to find all the usual items? The boomerang, the bomb, grappling hook. Are there anything
you
new?
can see, I think certainly we've got some of those in this demo right here. The bow and arrow is one. The hammer returns obviously from A Link to the Past, and they're using it in some pretty fun ways, as you see here, breaking through the floor to then drop down to the level below.
That's really cool. Yeah.
There may be one or two new items, but clearly I think one of the big changes is just the way that they're using the item gauge to change the way that you use your items and how you balance that.
A lot of rupees.
A lot of rupees.
He's rolling with them.
Rupees
He's got the
actually.
big wallet.
I was gonna say he's got to get a big wallet soon.
There'll be good uses for his rupees in this game.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So Legend of Zelda, Link Between Worlds, coming out this November.
Coming out this November.
It looks fantastic. Like I said, my most anticipated 3DS game. Very cool. Bill, thanks so much for bringing it by.
Thanks for having
Thanks,
us.
Bill. I like him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Don't like you, though. Not at all.
Damn it, words hurt.
Stay with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after these messages.